got to improve on early in the season.
What does the offense do best, and what do you have to do to lean into those strengths more consistently?
What does the offense do best? I think that we've got a lot of playmakers that when they get the ball in their hand, they do some really good things. I think the protection from the offensive line has been tremendous yesterday, really. We had 2 sacks and 1 hit on the quarterback, but I thought overall the offensive line did an outstanding job. I thought we did a good job getting the run game going yesterday. I think Joe Burrow has been really efficient in making good decisions with the ball and being accurate when he throws it. And so, again, we just got to build some consistency. Our flaws is when we get that first down, we're really good within the drive there. It's just those first 2 plays being more efficient to put ourselves in a better third down situation. That's really been our Achilles heel when that happens.
You talked about getting off schedule in these games. Is it the falling behind? Is it the 3 and outs? Is it a combination of both?
Well, 3 and outs are going to lead you to fall behind, so I'd say it's a combination. Yeah.
What changed for the run game yesterday, and what specifically did you guys find success with, kind of running out of the gun like you guys did pretty much from the same quarter on?
Yeah, I think it complemented what we were finding success with in the past there in the second quarter and the second half. I thought those guys up front did a good job. Tight ends did a good job. Backs did a really good job. Mixon and Samaje. And there was some combination stuff we were trying to do with the runs and the passes there that we found some success with.
I know you're still going to obviously watch the film, but just from what you saw, what were the Ravens secondary doing to kind of keep Jamar and other receivers spin? Because it didn't really seem like there was much explosion downfield besides the one capturing Mike Thomas. What were they doing that was disruptive?
Well, when teams are going to play you too high like that, that's what they're hell-bent on taking away and banking on you not being patient enough to stick with the run game and throw the stuff underneath. That's what we did. We had 2 really effective drives in the second half operating that way, 2 really effective drives in the second quarter operating that way. It makes for a shortened game, obviously, when you don't have the explosives because you're not going to get as many plays because it's more possession-type stuff and running, so the clock's going to run. And, it's weird to even look at that first drive in the second half as a possession because it was just 1 play, and so you feel like you just had 2 possessions in the second half. And so it just doesn't give you a lot of time to go score 40 points unless you score in every possession of the game. And so it feels like an inefficient day when in reality we really felt like those 5 possessions in a row were pretty good. They just weren't good enough to score enough points to win the game.
What are the biggest keys for running the ball, especially in the low red zone? I mean, red zone running, but especially in the low red area.
Well, every defensive structure is going to be a little bit different than you face. And so you don't always go into 2 weeks in a row facing the same structure and having the same looks that you're going to get. So things can be tweaked a little bit from week to week. We haven't been as productive as we've wanted to, and I don't think that's anyway. Those are things that we got to continue to improve on is scoring in the low red zone.
With all 3 losses being by 3 points or less, how will that affect the decisions going forward to attempt a field goal on 4th down as opposed to go for it?
We won't let this one play into another decision we have. Each game's a little bit different. I feel like down the inside the 2-yard line, there's a lot of opportunities. Down there you can score to go by 4. You give them the ball in the -2 if you don't get it, which is what happened. Unfortunately, they drove the 96 yards and kicked the field goal there. That's not what you're anticipating happening. You're anticipating getting a quick 3 and out because of them being backed up and then getting the ball around the 50-yard line and then getting a chance to either get the 3 or the 7. Just didn't work out that way. And so you can always look in hindsight. Yeah, you take the points because it didn't convert. That's a tough way to operate if you're always working in hindsight. You got to make the decision you think is the best in that moment. Unfortunately, the play we called didn't work for us.
Zach, you've always been progressive in the idea that if something's not working, that this coaching staff will be stubborn about something. Has it ever been brought up in meetings with the staff, play calling, allowing somebody else to play call to jumpstart the offense a little bit? Has that been broached so far this year?
It's collective on the headset every play. So whether it's coming out of my mouth or somebody else's, it all gets the same end result. We communicate every play. Brian and I, Frank, Pitch, Troy, James, everybody's in there, Justin. We talk through it after every single series. And, I thought we started really fast the last 2 weeks. We scored on the first possession. So it's always going to be, if you don't score early, you didn't start fast. If you do score early, you started fast. And there's been times that we've done both. I wish that we scored 7 points on the opening drive every single week. It just hasn't been that way yet. We saw Buffalo score 0 points against these guys, up until that 2-minute drive last week. So we knew that these guys had really started fast on defense. We knew it was going to be a challenge. We just weren't efficient enough on those first 2 plays, or really those first 4 drives, to get us jump started there. That was disappointing that it worked out that way.
How would you evaluate the play calling first 5 games?
It's a work in progress to make sure we get as many points as we need.
Looking back, we went into the decision for the shovel pass to Stanton. Can you talk a little more about that?
It's something we worked on all week, so that's what we do when we game plan, and we try to find plays that are going to attack that defensive structure down there in the low red. It's not just something we make up on the sidelines. It's something we worked on and studied, and we've run it twice before. Once we got stopped on the inch-yard line to Hayden. Once TB scored and we got called back, and this one just didn't work.
Tyler was saying on the Philly special that had it been man, it might have been a much better result. And
Had it been man?
had it been man, and he said it wasn't, and because of that, it wasn't the look that they were
Okay.
looking for. And I'm wondering, when you call a play like that, and you put responsibility on the ball carrier to kind of identify what he has. He told us he wished he threw it away, and he didn't, and took a bigger loss than he could have. How do you, when you look at that play, how do you see what he was saying?
Yeah, it's they got on him fast. Of course, in hindsight, you wish you'd throw the ball away, but that's the risk we take when we put the ball in the guy's hands. They don't play quarterback. That's you're rolling the dice there, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for us. That's not something I put on TV. It's something you rep a couple times in practice, and in the game it unfolds a little differently than how it could have played out. So again, that's 100% on me for the play not working out and our guys not being put in the best position possible. It's not on TV. We can say all day, throw the ball away. You're asking a guy in a specialty play they want to make a play. That's their instinct, is to make a play. It's not something he gets paid to do, go back there and play quarterback and make decisions. So ultimately, they played the look really well. They did a good job passing it off and then triggering once they saw what was happening, and everybody was covered. So the play just didn't work.
That's what he was saying. Sorry about the confusion. That the look they gave initially wasn't the look that he got as the play progressed.
Okay.
Because TB doesn't normally play quarterback, Joe doesn't normally play receiver. Is there a directive on that play that unless he's wide open, don't expose him to that chance of taking a shot? Of Joe Burrow I assume that he was going to be the receiver on
Yeah,
that.
he was.
Unless he's wide open, don't throw the ball.
Yeah. And throw the ball away, you mean?
Throw it away. I know he couldn't throw it away because they got on him so quick. But
Right.
you don't want him.
Forcing a
Hanging Joe
Forcing
out
a ball in the coverage. No, we don't want that. No.
And there was a play, I think it was the end of the first quarter, and you came running down and called a timeout. At the time, the play clock wasn't low. Was that a look that you remember the play?
We were going to saw zero corner cat, double corner cat on a play action, and it was not going to be good. So we saw their check. I could see Joe trying to go through the thought process of getting us to a different play, and it was going to be a tough look based on the formation we were in. So we called timeout. Very similar to Dallas. We called timeout against Dallas on third down. You guys brought up the quote about the empty thing. Very similar. You get into a unique formation with guys playing different positions, and you get a look that's a very challenging look, as you can see. And sometimes that's worth burning a timeout as opposed to making Joe have every answer for every blitz and every formation. That can be challenging. He can do it. And probably if I'd let it play out to 1 second on the play clock, he would have gotten us to something that wouldn't have been disastrous. It might not have been ideal, but it wouldn't be disastrous because he does a good job of solving that. But sometimes it's tough to put them in that position with 9 seconds left in the play clock to make him solve that problem, where we can just utilize the timeout there in the first half. You don't want to burn through your timeouts, but I thought that was a situation where we were in a good situation there. We didn't want to take a negative play and burn a timeout and get to a better play.
With respect to the shovel pass, was the structure what you had anticipated, or was it different?
Yeah, it didn't work out the cleanest we had hoped. They made a good play. They had some players that it was a little tough to see. I thought Marcus Peters would have reacted well when you watch the tape. He did a good job tracking Stanley as he came through there. It didn't come to that. They edged some of our back blocks. It was tough. So Again, you put it in for the right reasons. It didn't work out in our favor.
Obviously, there's a lot of, throughout the week when you're going to the game plan, it's a collective effort, but, before a play during the 40-second clock, I guess how does that work collectively as you're kind of going through? Are y'all talking through as a staff, can you just walk us through, with it being for a specific play, kind of how it remains collective going in as you guys are?
Yeah, we just talked through it before every play. Yeah.
Is there, if things continue, I guess, based on the answers you've given so far, it seems like it may seem metrically the offense has been inefficient, but in your mind, given the defenses that you've been given, you feel like you guys have been successful. Is that probably correct interpretation?
We're 2-3, so to say that we've been successful is hard to say right now. So, again, we're going to continue to work as a unit and coaching staff to find ways to have a better flow over the course of the game and score more points than we've scored.
How has Boyd looked, and how important is it to get him more involved?
Yeah, that's something we need to do. He's a key part of this offense, and how's he looked? He looks good. He does everything we ask him to do, and that's in the run game, that pass game. That's asking him to make some key blocks on some plays as well. I got a lot of confidence in TB. That hasn't changed. The production hasn't been there because we haven't given him the opportunities to have the production, and that's something certainly he's got to be a big part of what we do because he's a premier player. He's one of the best slots in the league. He's been a tremendous player for us over the 4 years I've been here, and he needs to continue to be a big part of what we do.
Zach, I think a lot of people in the room grew up in the generation when you have the ball on the 1 yard line, you give it to your running back 4 times and see if he can slam it in. Has the NFL changed in a way that you see analytics by watching film that's not the best way to attack goal line offense anymore, just to slam your running back into it?
Well, I'd start by saying I don't think we had the ball 4 yards on the 1 yard line. We have it on the 5 and try to run it down. We get down to 2, and there's some weeks we've done that. We've probably run the ball more inside the 5 yard line, and then we've thrown it by a large margin over the course of this season. That's something that we've really done, and sometimes it's been good, sometimes it hasn't. We continue every week to present a low red zone plan that we think is going to work best, whether that's running, passing, RPOs, shovels with pass options. There's a lot of things that goes into it. It's a lot of work that we spend time studying our team, other teams, and what the defense is going to present to try to come up with this plan. When it doesn't work, it's a significant portion of the game. Just like when you go for 4th down, you don't get it. It should require a lot of second guessing because they're critical moments in the game when you're on the goal line and you lose a 4-point play or you get no points. It's a huge turning point in the game. So it's something that we take a lot of pride in, trying to give ourselves the best opportunity. When it doesn't work out, it's a kick in the gut because they're critical moments in the game and they're ones that get talked about often. That doesn't weigh into our decision making, but it obviously becomes a critical point of the game, and it's something that we need to create the best plan to put ourselves in a position to score 7 points instead of 3 or 0.
With Drew injured and Devin unavailable last night, how have you seen Mitchell's role grow?
Yeah, I think Mitchell has continued to improve over the several years he's been here and become a more valuable player on offense. He's always been a special teams player for us. I think Mitch continues to get better and better with every week that passes. We have a lot of confidence in him. Obviously, Hayden's our starting tight end right now, and we try to do our best to get him as involved as possible, but have a lot of confidence in Mitchell and the job that he can go in there and execute and do. And he had the short yardage pass last week against Miami. That was a huge play in the game. When his number's been called, he stepped up and done a really good job, and I'm proud of him. Hey, he's really grown over these last several years to put himself in a position to where he's been a good player for us.
You guys lost T so early. How much does the game plan change when you lose a guy like that? And what's kind of the balance between not wanting to change up the game plan when you still have 3+ quarters to play, and also recognizing one of your key figures is out?
Yeah, I mean, T in my eyes is a Pro Bowl receiver, and so when you lose somebody like that, certainly it changes some things. You end up moving Jamar around a little bit to get him some of the things that maybe we're going to go to T. And to keep it involved that way so you don't have to shelve some of the things you worked on. Mike Thomas stepped up and did a good job. I mean, the play Hayden Hurst caught for a touchdown, it was either going to be him or Mike Thomas based on how the safety played it, really. Mike had repped it once, T had repped it once, Mike got it in the game. Mike made the great play, that would have gone a tee on the I think it was 1st and 15 conversion, when they pressured us and played man coverage on the back end, and Mike had the explosive plays. So we still have guys that we believe in that can step up, and they'll continue to do that. Stanley, Mike, Trent, those guys' number will be called when T can't practice or if something comes up like that in the game. But I thought our guys adjusted really well. Burrow, Jamar, TB, when we start moving guys around, they have processed the right way and been able to handle it, and that's not everybody can do that. Not everybody can adjust like that, and those guys have done a really good job of it.
How impressive,
Go ahead, finish up, and then I'll come back to you, Charlie.
You mentioned kind of moving Jamar around. Is that something that you guys want to do more? I think he took a couple of snaps out of the backfield, played the slot. He threw, I think, the first 2 drives or something like that. It was quick bubble screens. Is that something you guys want to do more moving forward?
Well, he's really explosive with the ball in his hands, and so we're just looking at every way you can get him, Tyler, all those guys, the ball down the field quickly, intermediate. It's a balance to also move them around so they're not always just in one spot. We like doing that. They like doing that. And so, again, every week the game plan is going to be a little bit different, but we have tried to move Jamar around quite a bit.
how impressive was your defense's ability to put in place a really complex game plan?
Yeah. I mean, there's such a challenging offense to prepare for, and I thought Lou and the staff had a great plan. The players obviously believed in it, did a really good job. To keep that team, limit them to one time in the end zone is very difficult just because of it starts with the quarterback. He's such an explosive passer, such an explosive runner, and obviously they've got a run scheme that challenges you, and then they got the play actions off of it, and you're always worried about the quarterback keeping the ball for explosive plays. So sometimes that requires you to give up 5 to 9 yard chunks where it looks like, man, why is that guy wide open? Well, you're trying to limit some other things. And I think our defense did a really good job of bending, not breaking, creating the turnover when you needed it, and really doing enough to give us a great chance to win that game. And it just wasn't enough to get the win, unfortunately.
We've seen many times this team suffer a gut punch kind of loss like you suffered last night, and they bounce back the next week. What do you think the intangible is with this team that allows them to go play good football the week after what happened?
Yeah, character, really character at the end of it. Just the football character of understanding that this is a long season, and you can't ride the roller coaster that most people want to ride after every loss. It's when you win, things are great. When you lose, everything is broken. That's not how we approach it in the locker room, in the meeting rooms, and our guys understand that. And the challenge of a team that wants to be a great team is bouncing back from a game like this and then going on the road in a tough environment and finding a way to win. And I'm more than believe our team is capable of responding the right way. And again, it's 5 games into the season. We got a long ways to go. I love the effort of our team. I love the approach of our team. It's unfortunate our record is what it is, but again, there's a lot of ball left to play, and I'm very confident that we'll get things rolling in the right way.
Zach, metrically, it looked like y'all had a good amount of yards per attempt against 2 high shells last year. What's maybe been the difference this year as to why that hasn't kind of maybe translated this year? Or is that incorrect? Is that maybe incorrect?
I have no idea. I don't really look at the metrics of it, to be honest with you. We watch the tape and try to put the best plan together. I don't measure 17 games last year to 5 games this year. I wouldn't even know how to do that. But again, I felt like as the game got going, we had a lot of success in offense, finding the right groove in the running and the pass. Everyone wants us to be explosive on every play. That's just not how it's going to play out all the time. So again, sometimes it requires patience to move the ball down the field and find ways to get 7 points. The problem is when you're patient, you move the ball down the field in a 17-play drive and you end with no points. That's, like I said, that's a kick in the gut. And that's going to prevent you from winning more times than not. When you finish those long drives, you eat up those chunks of clock, you give your defense a break, but there's also the momentum change of ending with no points. That's what we have to move away from, because if you get 7 points there, I don't think it's viewed the same way. Because of one play on the 2-yard line, you score 7 more points, you potentially win the game, then maybe the success of the offense is viewed very differently. And so, again, it comes down to those little moments there where you just got to be on top of it. You got to have the best play call. You got to have the best execution to put ourselves in a position to have a better chance of winning. And unfortunately, we just didn't get that done yesterday.
Does it just come down to winning the way that, the teams are fortunate to play that way, sustained winning at that level, maybe opens things up the other way and maybe forces defense to play differently? Is that just kind of what it comes down to?
No, I think There's three clear things in our three losses. We've started down 2 scores, and that's because of the position we put ourselves in. You know, offensively not being efficient enough just on the first 2 or 3 drives of the game, and defensively, you know, let's hold them to 0 next time. You know, in the first quarter, our defense has done an outstanding job, so I'm not throwing rocks at them at all. But we've been best when we've played fast on offense, got ourselves a lead. Defense has done a great job keeping out of the end zone, and then we played the whole game with the lead. The 3 times we've lost, we've been down 2 scores, and that's a collective team effort on why that's happened. And then we spend our time digging out of it. We've done it every time. It's just obviously the best recipe for us is to get a lead early and sustain that thing, and then get a chance to play how you game plan going into it.
Over the last couple of weeks, it seems like Hayden Hurst is getting more and more involved in the pass game. How close is his production to where you expected it to be when you guys signed him?
It's hard to have an expectation on the production because we have a lot of weapons, and so you're just looking at the overall productivity and not. I think Jamar needs to have, you know, however many catches, and T and TB and Hayden and Mixon, the backs collectively too. So it's hard to go into a season and say this is what I project. It's more we have a quarterback that does a really good job of just finding the best matchup and who's open in the progression and throwing them the ball. And that can be any of the 5. Many times yesterday he threw to the 5th guy in his progression. And sometimes that's just the back on a backside wide route. But he does a really good job of giving everyone an opportunity based on what the coverage is matched with the concept and finding the open guy. And when Hayden has been that guy that's gotten the ball, he's made the most of those opportunities. He had the back shoulder catch on our sidelines. That was tremendous. They've worked really hard. Him and Joe have worked like crazy getting that down so that when we do it in the game, they're on the same page. And it was a big play on Marcus Peters, a corner. Not always do you take that versus a corner and a tight end. And Joe obviously had the confidence to do that. And Hayden allowed it to pay off for us.